Sri Gurubhyo Nama children, welcome to online session. Today we are going to start, already we are discussing coordination compounds. Today we are going to see coordination number. Already I have given definition for coordination number and we have seen the calculation for coordination number for some mononuclear compounds where there is only one ligand which is a donor attached to the central metal ion. So, I gave the definition for coordination number. So, coordination number is nothing but fixed number of ions or neutral molecules that are attached to the central metal ion. And based on that, we have seen the calculation for mononuclear compounds. Now, we are going to start with the calculation of coordination number for bidentate as well as for polydentate ligands. Already I told about bidentate and polydentate. So, bidentate ligand is nothing but a ligand which has two donor atoms. When a ligand has two donor atoms that are bound to the central metal ion, we can call it as bidentate or didentate ligand. For example, we are going to see oxalate ion, where there are two oxygen atoms which contributes 2 electron pair to the central metal ion. So, oxalate can be given example for bidentate or didentate ligand, and we are going to see one more example, ethylene diamine or ethane 1,2 diamine, where there are two nitrogen atoms donating 2 electron pairs to the central metal ion. So, based on this we are going to calculate the coordination number for bidentate ligands. So, one by one we are going to see in detail. To start with, the first sum. So, we are going to see the coordination number of a central metal ion using a bidentate or didentate ligand. The very familiar example a compound is coming like this. Iron is the central metal ion here, where it is bonded with 3 oxalate ions. So, here the iron is the central metal ion where it is bonded with 3 oxalate ion. Already I told about oxalate ion. So, oxalate ion is a bidentate ligand. So, we are going to see the oxalate ion. This is oxalate ion. This is oxalate ion. So, there are 2 donor atoms here. Each oxygen is donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So, oxalate ion can be given example for bidentate ligand. We are going to say how this oxalate is bonded to central metal ion, and we are going to calculate the coordination number also. For example, I am going to write iron in the center. Iron will be in the center. So, it is a central metal ion here, and it is bonded with 3 oxalate ions. We are going to see now how it is bonded. This is one oxalate ion. So, iron is in the center. So, central metal ion is iron here. So, one side there is one oxalate ion. See this oxalate ion, there are 2 donors. Here one oxygen atom donating an electron pair, again here another oxygen atom donating an electron pair. So, one side is over. One more oxalate ion I am going to show like this. So, this is another oxalate ion that is bound to the central metal ion. One more oxalate ion is also there. So here you see the central metal ion, all the sides it is bonded by oxalate ion. So each oxalate ion has 2 oxygen atoms. So each oxalate ion donates 2 electron pairs. Totally there are 3 oxalate ions. So 3 into 2, totally 6 electron pairs are donated by the oxalate ion to the central metal ion. So here one electron pair, here another electron pair, one more electron pair is here, one more electron pair is here, one more electron pair like this, and another electron pair is like this. When you count the electron pairs, there are totally 6 electron pairs bonded to the central metal ion. Therefore, coordination number of ion is 6 here, because totally 6 electron pairs are bonded to the central metal ion. Therefore, the coordination number of ion is 6. So, this is the first sum. The next sum we are going to see again with the bidentate ligand. So, we are discussing the coordination number of central metal ion using bidentate ligands. Already we have started with the oxalate ion, which is a bidentate ligand. Now, we are going to talk about another important bidentate ligand, which is ethylene diamine. So, ethylene diamine, there are 2 amino groups. So, each amino group has got nitrogen. So, there are 2 nitrogen atoms donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So, there are 3 ethylene diamine molecules here which is bonded to the central metal ion. So, I am going to write the structure now. The second sum. So, this is the second sum. So, here the central metal ion is cobalt, CO. The ligand here is ethylene diamine. Here this ethylene diamine, actually the formula is like this. So, this is ethylene diamine. So, here this ethylene diamine has 2 donors. So, what is the donor here? Nitrogen. There are 2 donors here. So, each ethylene diamine has 2 nitrogen. Therefore, there are 3 ethylene diamine molecules. So, 3 into 2, 6. So, 6 electron pairs are donated by 3 ethylene diamine molecule towards the central metal ion. So, this is ethylene diamine. Usually, it is a bidentate ligand. So, there are 2 donor atoms here. So, we can quote this example for bidentate ligand. Here, I am going to use the ligand abbreviation. Instead of writing ethylene diamine, we can write the simplified form as EN. This is ethylene diamine. So, in short, we can write the short abbreviation of the ethylene diamine as EN inside the square bracket. That's why instead of writing ethylene diamine, I have indicated the ligand abbreviation EN. So, there are 3 ethylene diamine molecules bonded to the central metal ion. We are going to see the structure now. How this ethylene diamine gives the or donates the electron pair to the central metal ion, that is cobalt. So, cobalt will be in the center. So, here the central metal ion is cobalt. I wanted to attach 3 ethylene diamine molecules. So, one by one we are going to see. Here one ethylene diamine. See here one ethylene diamine. So, this is one molecule of ethylene diamine. This nitrogen is donating the electron pair to the cobalt. Again, one more nitrogen is also there donating the electron pair to the cobalt. The next one we are going to say another ethylene diamine. It is bonded like this. NH2, CH2, again CH2 NH2. So see the linkage here. Again this ethylene diamine also has 2 nitrogen atom donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. There is one more ethylene diamine like this, NH2 CH2 So this is again another ethylene diamine. So there are 3 ethylene diamine which are bonded to the central metal ion. When you count the electron pairs, here one electron pair 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So totally 6 electron pairs are available. Therefore, coordination number of cobalt is 6 here. So there are 6 electron pairs donated by 3 ethylene diamine molecules. That's why, so all the 6 electron pairs are involved in bond formation with the central metal ion. Therefore, the coordination number of the central metal ion here, that is cobalt. So the coordination number is 6. So these 2 examples I have told for bidentate or didentate ligands. Now we are going to say one more example. I am going to talk about polydentate ligands. So bidentate, there will be two donor atoms in a ligand. We can give examples like oxalate ion and ethylene diamine, where in case of polydentate ligands, many donors will be there which will be donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. Here one familiar example is EDTA, the very familiar example, very important compound in coordination chemistry. So it is called as EDTA. It is nothing but ethylene diamine tetraacetate. So here the compound is ethylene diamine tetraacetate. Here we are going to see there are so many donor atoms in this compound. We are going to see 4 oxygen atoms here which donates the electron pair to the central metal ion, as well as nitrogen is also there. 2 nitrogen atoms are also there readily available for bonding here. Therefore, we are going to see the polydentate ligand with ethylene diamine tetraacetate. So we are going to calculate the coordination number of the central metal ion using the polydentate ligand. Using the polydentate ligand. Already I defined polydentate ligand, which is nothing but a ligand which has many donor atoms. So the very familiar example I am going to give, EDTA. So it is nothing but ethylene diamine tetraacetate. Ethylene diamine tetraacetate. So we are going to see a complex here where iron will be the central metal ion. This is the complex we are going to see now. The iron is the central metal ion here which is bonded with EDTA. Already I told you EDTA is a polydentate ligand. There will be so many donor atoms here which is going to donate the electron pair to the central metal ion. So in EDTA, first I will give the structure of EDTA so that we can come to know how many donor atoms are present there. See here, there are totally 6 donors in this ethylene diamine tetraacetate. See this side, there is one oxygen atom above, so it will donate one electron pair to the central metal ion. Similarly, in this there is one more oxygen atom donating an electron pair to the central metal ion. So this side there are 2 oxygen atoms available. You move towards the other side. Here there is one oxygen donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. One more oxygen is also there donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So therefore, there are 4 oxygen donors. So 4 oxygen atoms are there which are donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. Apart from that, there are 2 nitrogen also available. So 2 nitrogen atoms are available for bonding as well as 4 oxygen atoms also available for bonding. So totally 6 donor atoms are bonded to the central metal ion. We can call this as hexadentate ligand also, but in general we will talk about polydentate. So under polydentate it can be quoted for hexadentate ligand where there are 6 donor atoms in the ligand. So I talked about 4 oxygen atoms which donates 4 electron pairs to the central metal ion. Along with that there are 2 nitrogen atoms also available for the central metal ion. So we can quote this for polydentate. Now we are going to see how this EDTA is attached to the central metal ion. Draw ion in the center. So I am going to attach EDTA to the central metal ion. So I wanted to involve all the 6 atoms which are going to donate the electron pair to the central metal ion. So ion will be in the center. I am going to show the structure now. So see here, 2 nitrogen atoms are involved in bond formation. So 2 nitrogen atoms are involved in bond formation. Out of 6, I have involved 2 nitrogen atoms. 4 more oxygen atoms I have to show how they are donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So we are going to see now. Acetate ions I have to introduce. So there are 4 acetate. We are going to see how they are going to donate the electron pair. And you see one side I have written acetate ion. There are 2 acetate ion towards the right hand side. So each acetate ion has got oxygen which donates the electron pair to the central metal ion. So towards the right hand side I have written 2 acetate molecule where each acetate has got oxygen donor to the center which donates the electron pair to the central metal ion. So towards the right hand side 2 acetate molecules I have written where 2 oxygen donors are bonded to the central metal ion. Towards the other side we are going to say another acetate. So this is one oxygen which is donating the electron pair towards the central metal ion. There is another acetate ion . So once again another acetate ion is also there bonded to the central metal ion. So towards the right hand side I have shown 2 oxygen atoms donating the electron pair to central metal ion. towards the left hand side, two more oxygen atoms are there donating the electron pair to the central metal ion, and nitrogen is also there which is attached to the central metal ion. So there are totally 6 donor atoms. When you count the electron pair, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So coordination number of ion in this complex is 6, because 6 donors are there donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So the coordination number of ion is 6 here. So this is one of the example for polydentate ligand. So by using polydentate ligand, we can calculate the coordination number of the central metal ion. Up to this calculation is over. The next part we are going to talk about the IUPAC rules to write the molecular formula of coordination compounds. There are so many rules we are going to follow to write the molecular formula of the coordination compounds which are given by IUPAC. So International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So this we are going to apply even in inorganic chemistry in order to write the molecular formula. So this IUPAC, they have given certain rules in order to write the molecular formula. One by one we are going to see all the rules in detail. So we are going to see the IUPAC rules to write the molecular formula of coordination compounds. There are so many rules, one by one we are going to see in detail with example. First one, first rule. The central metal ion should be listed first. The central metal ion should be listed first. For example, a complex is coming like this. So this is one complex. Here the central metal ion is copper, which is bonded with 4 amine molecules, 4 ammonia. So here already the first rule states that the central metal ion should be listed first in the square bracket. So inside the square bracket, the starter will be the central metal ion, which is the electron acceptor. So here the central metal ion is copper. So this is the first rule. So first rule states that usually in the coordination compound, while writing the molecular formula, the central metal atom should be stated first in the square bracket. So I have given the example tetramine copper ion. So here copper is the central metal ion. So it should be written first in the square bracket. So this is the first rule. Second rule, ligand should be arranged in alphabetical order in the square bracket. Already we are discussing the rules for writing the coordination compounds, the IUPAC rules for writing the molecular formula of coordination compounds. I have already stated the first rule. While writing the coordination compound, the central metal ion should be stated first. So I told the square bracket, usually central metal ion will be accompanied by the ligand or donor species. So central metal ion should be listed first in the square bracket in the coordination compound. So this is the first rule. Second rule, ligands should be arranged in alphabetical order. Ligands should be arranged in alphabetical order irrespective of their charges. Ligands should be arranged in alphabetical order irrespective of their charges. I am going to write a complex now so that you can easily understand this rule. Example, a complex is coming like this. Say inside the square bracket, cobalt is the central metal ion here. There are 3 different ligands which are present inside the square bracket along with the central metal ion. For example, NH3, which is nothing but amine. The IUPAC name for NH3 is amine. Second one, H2O. For H2O, the IUPAC recommendation is aqua. The first one is amine. The second one is aqua. The third one, chlorido. When you see the charge, amine is a neutral ligand, so charge is 0. Aqua is also a neutral ligand, charge is 0. Whereas chlorine, which is called as chlorido, it will have a -1 charge, it's a negative ligand, so it will have a -1 charge. So already the rule is clear that irrespective of the charges, the ligand should be written in alphabetical order. So here NH3 stands for amine. The next one H2O stands for aqua, whereas Cl is chlorido. So if we are going to arrange this in alphabetical order, amine will be we will be writing the amine first, followed by aqua and chlorido. So here cobalt is the central metal ion, amine is the first ligand. To start with, we are starting with amine, which according to the alphabetical order, followed by aqua and chloro. So the name of the complex is tetramine. Tetramine aqua chlorido, tetramine aqua chlorido cobalt 3 chloride. Already I told you the oxidation state should be represented in Roman numeral, cobalt 3 chloride. So here the rule clearly states that the ligands, irrespective of their charges, it should be arranged alphabetically. So cobalt is the central metal ion here, which is bonded with 3 ligands here. One is amine, the other one is aqua, the third one is chlorine. Already it is arranged in alphabetical order. So amine will be coming first, followed by aqua and chlorido. So the name of the complex is tetramine aqua chlorido cobalt 3 chloride. So this is the second rule. Now we are going to see the third rule. The coordination entity whether whether charged or not, the coordination entity whether charged or not should be written in square brackets. the coordination entity, whether charged or not, should be written in square brackets. This is the third rule. Already I told about coordination entity, already we have seen. Coordination entity or coordination sphere is nothing but the central metal ion along with the ligands in the square bracket. For example, a complex is coming like this. See here, this is the coordination entity. So it is a charged complex where iron is the central metal ion bonded with 6 cyanogen. So FeCN6 4 minus. So it is a charged coordination entity. So I have written inside the square bracket. So usually the coordination entity or coordination sphere consists of the central metal ion and the ligand. So it should be indicated in the square bracket. So this is the third rule. So the first rule is the central metal ion should be listed first while writing the molecular formula of the coordination compound. Second rule, the ligands should be arranged alphabetically irrespective of the charge. So I have given one example. The third rule, the coordination entity, whether charged or not, should be written in the square brackets. For that I have given FeCN6 4 minus as example. The next rule, polydentate ligands already I told about polydentate ligands previously we have seen. That is a ligand which has many donor atoms, we can call it as polydentate ligands. The very familiar example I gave, EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetate, where there are 6 donor atoms. It can be called as hexadentate ligand also, where there are 4 oxygen atoms and 2 nitrogen atoms are readily available to give the electron pairs to the central metal ion. So polydentate ligands should be arranged alphabetically, and in our syllabus we have only polydentate ligands. We are not going to, they have not included the polydentate ligands in the complexes. Just they have given the definition and they have given some examples. So even polydentate ligands should be arranged alphabetically. Polyatomic ligands should be written in parenthesis. So polydentate ligand should be arranged alphabetically. The next one is polyatomic ligands should be written in parenthesis. And even ligand abbreviations should be in parenthesis. So the fourth rule is polydentate ligand should be arranged alphabetically. So polyatomic ligands. So polyatomic, already I told you, there are two different atoms will be there readily donating the electron pair to the central metal ion. So polyatomic ligands should be written in parenthesis. We are going to give examples. I am going to give example now. Even ligand abbreviation also can be indicated in parenthesis. So one by one we are going to see examples. So, the fourth rule is polyatomic ligand. Here ONO is a polyatomic ligand. So, I have included in parenthesis polyatomic ligand. So, it can be called as nitrito O. Here oxygen is going to donate the electron pair here towards the central metal ion. So, it is a polyatomic ligand. So, the same ligand can be written like this also. If it is, it can be written like this also, NO2 nitrito N. If nitrogen is going to donate the electron pair to the central metal ion, it can be called as nitrito N. Here I have rearranged the ligand as ONO, which is otherwise called as nitrito, where oxygen is going to donate the electron pair to the central metal ion. So, here you see in the square bracket cobalt is the central metal ion. So, it is bonded with ethylene diamine, which is a neutral complex. So, ethylene diamine, there are two ethylene diamine molecule, and the other one is ONO, which is nothing but nitrito, which is a polyatomic ligand, I have indicated in parenthesis. The next one we can see this ethylene diamine. Already I told you ethylene diamine. So, instead of writing the full form of ethylene diamine, we are going to use the abbreviation, that is EN. So, for ethylene diamine we are going to use the abbreviation EN. So, this EN should be included in parenthesis. So, this is again another rule. So, ethylene diamine, so it is a compound where the short form of a compound, the abbreviation can be written as EN. That is why I have included in this square bracket. So, the ligand abbreviation for ethylene diamine is EN. So, both the points I have explained here. So, the first point is polyatomic ligands. So, it should be indicated in parenthesis. Here the polyatomic ligand is ONO, nitrito, where oxygen is donating the electron pair towards the central metal ion. So, this is one polyatomic ligand I have indicated in parenthesis. The next point we have seen ligand abbreviations can be indicated in parenthesis. For ethylene diamine, I am using the short form, I have abbreviated as EN. So, that is also included in the parenthesis. So, this is the next rule. Now, we are going to see the next rule, one more rule. If the coordination entity has to be written with a charge, if the coordination entity has to be written with a charge without the counter ion, if the coordination entity has to be written with a charge without the counter ion, the charge has to be written outside the square bracket. The charge has to be written outside the square bracket. if the coordination entity has to be written with a charge without the counter ion, the charge has to be written outside the square bracket with the right superscript with the right superscript with the number before the charge. So the next rule is, if the coordination entity has to be written without the counter ion, if the coordination entity has to be written without the counter ion, usually the charge should be indicated outside the square bracket at the right superscript with the number before the sign. So only by giving example you will come to know. For example, I am going to give you a complex like this. CuNH3 4 times 2 plus. There is no counter ion here. Actually, the counter ion for this complex is sulfate, SO4 2 minus. I have not written the counter ion, I have written only the charged entity now. CuNH3 4 2 plus. I have indicated the charge, the rule is very clear here. The charge is indicated outside the square bracket at the right superscript with the number before the sign. So I have included the number 2 before the plus sign. So this is the next rule for writing the molecular formula of the coordination entity. There are 2 more rules remaining, I am going to discuss now. There should be no space between the ligands in the square bracket. This is another rule. So when you are writing the ligands in the square bracket, we need not leave space between the ligands in the square bracket. I am going to give an example now. See this complex? Here cobalt is central metal ion. There are so many ligands I have written inside the square bracket. One is ethylene diamine, the other one is nitrito, the other ligand is Cl. So we need not leave space between the ligands in the coordination entity or in the square bracket. So this is one more rule. The last rule is remaining. The last rule is, in the coordination complex, the positive and negative charges should be neutralized. The positive and negative charges should be neutralized. I am going to give an example so that it will be clear for you. A complex is coming like this. K4FeCN6 potassium ferrocyanide. So it is a complex compound, potassium ferrocyanide. When it dissociates, on dissociation, you will be getting 2 different ions here. You are going to get cation as well as anion. positively charged as well as negatively charged ions. So when potassium ferrocyanide undergoes dissociation, K4, which is a counter ion here, already I told about counter ion. The ionizable species which is present outside the square bracket is known as counter ion. It can be ionized. So ionizable species will be there which is present outside the square bracket. We can call it as counter ion. So here K4 is the counter ion which is present outside the square bracket. When it gets dissociated, K4 will be dissociated as 4K plus. Now we are having 4 positive charges. The rule is very clear. The positive and negative charges should be neutralized. So when potassium ferrocyanide undergoes dissociation, K4 is dissociated as 4K plus, whereas the species inside the coordination entity, that is the species inside the square bracket. What is the species? FeCN6. Already I told you, this species inside the square bracket cannot be ionized individually. The central metal ion and the ligand, always it will be together, so we cannot split it into individual ions. So the negative charges here are FeCN6 4 minus. You see now, this rule is very clear. The positive and negative charges should be neutralized in the coordination compound. So I have given example, potassium ferrocyanide. When it undergoes dissociation, K4 is dissociated as 4K plus. There are 4 positive charges. So simultaneously there should be 4 negative charges also. See the square coordination entity or the square bracket. There is central metal ion which is surrounded by 6 cyanogen. Always this central metal ion and the ligand will be together. It cannot be separated individually. So this FeCN6, when it undergoes dissociation, FeCN6 4 minus, you see the positive and negative charges. There are 4 positive and 4 negative charges. So the charges are neutralized here. So this is one of the important rule while writing the molecular formula of the coordination compounds. So far we have discussed all the rules for writing the molecular formula. I want everybody to read all the rules one by one, so that it will be easy for you while writing the molecular formula for the coordination compound.